to be able to complete the construction of both facilities completely. That's basically all we're doing. It's not a requirement. It is simply availability. That way, the issue of the cost will be off the table. We won't have to start trying to cobble things together. It'll be complete, and we can then move into a full planning and scheduling and construction and move on from there. With that, I'll entertain any questions after this meeting or any time, because we'll bring it back up next week. But if anybody have any comments or questions about it at this point?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you said we're authorizing an additional $500 million in bonds,
In bonds.
and the bonds are coming from,
Well, they go on
we're
sale
going to
for
market, we got to sell these.
Correct.
Do we have a time frame for
No.
this?
No,
So-
there is no time frame. That way, it gives a finance director, the state, the flexibility of carrying to market what's needed at an appropriate time, depending on what the market is and does. We're not in a tight to be able to have to move on this, but it gives us that flexibility. The circumstances change, interest rates go down and other factors, we'll be able to move in and get the bond sold and move forward from there if we need to. It gives us a greater flexibility.
And we are 60% on the Escamilla, which is where the shortfall is right now.
I
Or
would
is
say
this just for
we don't
both
have a
of them?
shortfall right now because we have the monies to complete all of Elmore and to begin on the Escamilla.
Escamilla,
Yeah.
okay.
But this will give us an assurance that we won't have a shortfall.
Okay. I'm just trying to get an idea because, okay, we have estimated time for Elmore's, okay, next year. But if we're 60%, so, and you said to begin work on Escamilla, but we don't really have a
No,
estimated time.
The
for
construction,
completion.
the construction is taking about 36 months on one of these facilities.
Okay, I got you, because in that time, we can have time to go to market.
Exactly.
Okay, I got you.
All right. Yes, sir.
Do you know what, if we'll have to pay some kind of premium because it's corrections related? I know that's been a problem on the, you know how many basis points it?
No.
And is there another pool of money we can float those bonds perhaps that are general obligation and
There's a possibility.
then use them?
There's a possibility. In fact, the finance director's been quite creative in discovering and finding methods of moving along that line. That's why we did not make this a requirement.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just want some clarity on how we're incorporating the existing facilities. And so how do we go about deciding if is there going to be a demolition or an upgrade, reconstruction? Like, are we leaning on DLC to decide, or how is that decided?
Actually, in the bill that we passed in 2021 in the law, there's established a committee to look and make those determinations. That committee has not met. There's no need for a meeting at this point because we've got to have a means, an opportunity to move and such from there. But if you'll also notice that there's continued funding, and you saw that on the presentation down below for other facilities. We are not making additional beds with these two prisons. We are simply trying to replace those that are deteriorated. As you know, Holman mostly is already closed. And the only one that I'm aware of that has a very likelihood of closure and demolition, in my mind, is Fountain, which is in Atmore, which is one of the purposes here. So that has to be determined by us and by that committee.
Thank you for the background information. I'm new here. Thanks.
Yes, sir. With that, if there's a motion, we'll carry this over and we'll move on to SB 86. Senator Orr.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I had this bill, well, it was a predecessor, and it was probably 2019 because it seemed, it was frustrating that we couldn't do anything for independent contractors. And by anything, I mean, they don't have the employer-employee relationship with, with the contractor and the contractee, or the person being contracted with, the independent contractor. And there was no way for there to be any type of ability to pay health insurance benefits from the employer or retirement benefits or others. You see on page 2, the lines, they're around line 40, the different types of benefits we're talking about here. And Utah broke ground 2 years ago on a bill that's this bill's patterned after Utah. And the problem is, this is ultimately a federal problem. You get into ERISA and all that. And we tried to address it back in 2019 with I'm going to say a 30 or 40 page bill that a sponsor that we met ourselves going and coming. But the federal government has not acted, the Congress has not acted, and independent contractors are still out there fending for themselves, and the ability for special accounts to be set up to help with health care, to help with retirement, et cetera, without breaching the independent contractor status, because the contracting company does not have the control over these employees and don't meet the test of becoming an employer. This would, if we're able to pass it, give them the ability to establish some benefits that would be portable if I leave the service of as a contractee or independent contractor of a particular company, and I go over to another company. This would travel with me, my independent account. And again, based on the Utah model, they've had good experience. Employers, or excuse me, I keep saying, the contracting companies are finding it helpful, and we'd like to move this along in Alabama. Representative Rafferty and I, we established a commission last session. We met a couple times. He's filing this same bill, but we think this is a good product. It may get amended in the legislative process because it is a bit cutting edge, but would like the committee to consider it and move it on. And I'm certainly open to any questions.
Thank you. I've read the bill, and I think it's a very good movement toward the future, and also in individual opportunity there. Small business and individual opportunities are what the economy is truly built on. If we wait in rural Alabama or any other place in Alabama for some big, huge to come in and establish and bring in jobs, that's one thing, but that's a rarity. This can be available to most any individual.
Well, it's also called for gig workers, the Uber drivers,
Exactly.
the shipped workers, that
Exactly.
all these folks that in the 21st century that are independent contractors. How can we help them and get health care? And this is certainly a way. How can we help them get a retirement account that a I keep saying employer, shame on me, the contracting company contribute to, and those things that would help those individuals.
Any other questions? We have a motion? Question?
Senator, on face value, I think it's a great idea, but who administers this? What umbrella?
Well, they would be portable. That's the thing, So the bank, I think it's a bank, a brokerage company, investment management company would have the account, hold the account, and then that's there in line 43, in big section 4, and they would hold it and be the responsible entity for holding it. But then it'd be up to the individual. If I have a retirement account like today, I could call, let's say, Fidelity and say, hey, send me some money out of my Fidelity IRA. And if I'm 52 years old, then I'm going to get taxed and I'm going to get penalized and all that eventually. So the same terms would apply here.
So this would be statewide, portable within the state?
Yes, it wouldn't go Tennessee or something. And my understanding is Tennessee has filed a bill. Somebody told me in the today, I think, or yesterday, they have a similar Utah type bill. Again, Utah kind of put it out there, and it's a simple bill, but it's a start. And To those in the gallery, I'm certainly open to, if we need to tweak things or do things, it's a work in progress.
Just one question, would this be open to people like that are in real estate? Because real estate agents are independent. I know that
I would
was,
say so.
that was one
Yeah.
of the reasons
There's
that I
no
left,
requirement
because
that you
they
be
had no
a gig
insurance
worker,
coverage.
type worker, but if they're an independent contractor, absolutely.
Yeah, they are independent contractors. You would think that an entity as large as real estate
Yes.
industry, that there should be some umbrella that they all could come under, but we didn't have that, still don't have it. So they would be able to take advantage of this. Thank you.
Yes.
Any other questions? I second. Let's go ahead and get a roll call vote.
Senator Albritton?
Aye.
Senator Chambliss? Senator Beasley? Senator Coleman? Senator Coleman Madison? Senator Elliott? Senator Gavan? Senator Jones? Senator Kelly? Senator Livingston? Senator Orr?
Aye.
Senator Price? Senator Shonut? Senator Stewart?
Aye.
Senator Stutz? Senator Weaver?
Bill's given a favorable report. Thank you. Thanks for everybody being here. Look forward to a fine session. We'll stand adjourned.